At a time when most Bengali Hindus celebrate their festive season of Durga Puja, mobs of reactionary thugs mobilize to vandalize, terrorize, and threaten and destroy puja pandals and temples across Bangladesh. Violence in Bangladesh is nothing but condemnable, it is disgraceful, and we must unite to stop these reactionary forces. In order to truly challenge such reactionary hate, we have to understand where it comes from and what its function is. Since 2013, Bangladesh has seen a dramatic increase in attacks against Hindus and Buddhist Christian minorities. Interestingly, it is in 2013 that Bangladesh also had the Shahbag movement, the Shahbag gathering. This event, this mobilization, calling for justice for the perpetrators of the Bangladesh genocide in 1971, opened up very fundamental fault line in Bangladeshi society and reveals to us one of their core democratic struggles. It is the struggle for a secular state, and at its core, that struggle was also a struggle against imperialist domination. Bangladesh today is lauded by the neoliberal press as a shining example of a democratic country, moderate in its outlook, progressing on very capitalist terms. Yes, sure, it's per capita income, an incredibly misleading concept as it is greater than India today, and poverty has reduced, absolute poverty has reduced, mind you. These hide the actual social tensions of the extremely disparate and unequal capitalist society that Bangladesh is. The fact is that such capitalistic development, such neoliberal driven development, which creates stark inequality, which creates alienation, can never bring social peace. It can never ensure communal harmony. Looking at the history of Bengal and the history of communalism, much of it was caused at its root by the policies of the East India Company, which disenfranchised the class of weavers and petty production, which threw a great chunk of the people of Bengal into poverty, destroyed its traditional industries, and created the socio-economic disparity that we saw at the time of independence between Hindus and Muslims. This disparity gave rise to the communal politics that we see being played out even today, not just in Bengal, but across the subcontinent. Challenging this would require nothing short of the uniting of the working class around a revolutionary program. Our task is not easy. It requires the breaking of illusions of people. There is anger in Bangladesh, and that anger at its core is directed towards the one-party state government that is being run by the Awami League, a party of oligarchs and bourgeoisies who are heavily invested in the capitalistic neoliberal model that they've propped up in Bangladesh. It is not by chance that the Awami League, many of its ministers are also linked to the textile industry, with their textile owners. It is not mere coincidence that this government has been putting Bangladesh on the high road towards imperialist dominance. Bangladesh's presence, its role in capitalism today is nothing but a center of cheap production for fast fashion and a center of proletarianization, just like the rest of the subcontinent. It has a very specific function. It is a country that has been converted into a very large sweatshop at the behest of imperialist interests. India too wields enormous influence in Bangladesh, and India's support is there behind Sheikh Hasina. and her extremely autocratic government. There is a clear link of causation here. We have an autocratic government that is failing its people. Most Bangladeshis continue to be poor. They are not benefiting from capitalist development. At the same time, critics are being silenced by this government. There have been enforced disappearances in the country at the hands of the RAB and other security apparatus. At the same time, we have this bubbling anger that has to go somewhere. When we, the left, the revolutionary forces, are disorganized and marginalized, it is the reactionaries who are going to step in and try to direct anger at a reactionary direction. They will come and blame the Hindus, the minorities, for the ills of the people. Whereas we point towards the capitalists, whereas we point towards the system, they point towards individuals. It is the same story in Bangladesh as it would be in the southern United States or in India, where the BJP and the Hindutva would blame Muslims. Don't look at your economic problems. Don't look at the government's failings. Don't look at Adani and Ambani stealing away your country. Look at the Muslims. They are the problem. That is the language of reactionaries. And it fuels hatred, division, and ultimately violence. In Bangladesh, we are seeing the reactionaries winning. And why are they winning? They have impunity. Just like in India, those who are responsible for the Babri Masjid attacks, those who were responsible for riots, the organization was linked with Gandhi's assassin continues to exist and thrive. In Bangladesh, impunity is towards Islamic fundamentalists. Why? The Awami League has a very interesting political equation here. By showing the threat of reaction, not destroying it, it can encash on the minorities' votes. It can continue the charade of secularism, while at the same time allowing the country to drift closer and closer into a reactionary hell. There has been no serious conviction in cases of violence against minorities. This is a serious question that the government needs to answer. And of course, critics will be silenced before they're even going to ask this. Now, there have been voices on the liberal side of the spectrum who would rather blame the people in the abstract, that it is Shariat law or it is in the religion itself that is the problem. There is nothing exceptional about the reactionary rise in Bangladesh. It is happening the world over. Where is the exception that they see in it? Fact is that such perspectives are superficial. They do not go into the core of the matter. We, as Marxists, need to go to the core of why social dynamics play out the way they do. We know, as we understand things in terms of class struggle, in terms of the world economy, in terms of the structure of capitalism. In Bangladesh, we have to see these things in context. Violence like this does not just happen out of random. There are social dynamics at play here. Understanding them is the first step towards addressing them. And for this incident, for these acts of violences that we're seeing in Bangladesh, the fact that the minorities are being targeted, are being attacked, are being marginalized, our approach must be to form a united front against reaction. Where they try to divide, we must try to unite, but not just unite in the abstract. We unite the working class, we unite the oppressed in struggle against capitalism. We give the people a real target. It is the bosses, the elites, who are dividing you, making you kill each other, impoverishing you, and destroying your livelihoods. They are the real enemy, not your working class Hindu or Muslim brother. We must build up our movement. We must build up this line of politics. It is only with the united working class that we can truly combat reactionary hate. Lal Salam.